I'm Paul.
Iceman, Storm, Wolverine. Called it. Hey guys, I am Devin, and we are back with some more X-Men Dice Thrones news. Some pretty exciting news. I thought they would just announce characters, but we actually have a little bit more. We've seen some player boards. We've seen status effects. Seen even some cards in there. So we are excited to announce, or not announce, but we are excited to kind of go over those, as I said, Iceman, Storm, Wolverine, and then kind of one I know a little bit about, but I'm just not super familiar with, Psylock.
They've been releasing, if you haven't seen, they've been releasing 2 characters kind of every week, which not something really I expected. I kind of expected them to wait until the Kickstarter. There has been these pictures being posted around on the Dice Throne Facebook, on the Dice Throne Discord. So we're just going to kind of dive in and just kind of give our first thoughts or instant reactions to some of these status effects and just go from there.
Yeah, so let's start with Wolverine, right? So we both, last time we talked, we kind of mentioned, we figured there was probably going to be a Wolverine, although we weren't sure, right? Because of somebody like a
Thor, Captain America, not Thor, Iron Man, Captain America.
He's in it. He does have healing in a different way than I thought. I thought it would probably be something to do with his upkeep. It seems like it's mostly abilities. Looks like roughly.
It was five out of the 8.
Yeah, I was going to say half of his abilities. I assume he's also going to have, like the healing cards, like the Miles Morales Milkshake or things that just you play a card, get some health.
Yeah, he had the recovery card, and then the, I forget what it's called, but it's even more recovery where you're rolling the die, and then, you get some healing from that. What I thought was awesome about that was the picture that they used. I don't know if you saw it, but it's the actual meme of Wolverine holding the picture, and it says recovery on it. So that was super awesome. I really like that.
I did not notice that. So Wolverine, I'm going to say, my opinion, he's kind of just a pretty basic do damage, heal damage type of character. I do think that alpha status effect seems pretty cool, but I'm curious to see it played out in practice. So how it works is once it's applied, you kind of have a roll-off, right? And if you're the Wolverine player and you're the winner, you actually get to inflict the alpha. It's just alpha, right?
Yeah, it's just alpha,
alpha status effect, which then is super powerful, right?
Yep.
It prevents the entire
income phase.
Incomes.
Yeah.
They don't get a draw, they don't get CP. I think that part's pretty cool. So I think it's probably balanced. It's probably not on very many of his abilities, and then even at that, it's a 50% chance of
actually being able to apply it or not. And what's interesting about that is Barbarian actually has a status effect where you don't have to roll anything, but it forces your opponent to skip that income phase. And like you said, it's a super powerful ability. So it seems like they kind of nerfed that a little bit with Wolverine, which is kind of cool to see. They're still balancing out all the actions that they have.
Yeah, and then his other was just his rage. It seemed pretty basic. He seems like just Barbarian is a good comparison.
Yeah,
he seems like he's just gonna be a damage dealer. You're gonna roll dice. You're gonna pick the best ability. You're gonna do damage. Not have to worry too much about the effects and that.
Well, what's interesting about it is his actions actually, from what I can see, it doesn't seem like they provide a ton of damage without the rage tokens. Yeah. So you're definitely going to have to be collecting those rage tokens because it adds 3 extra damage on there.
Well,
I know his small straight is like 5 damage or something like that. So adding that, obviously, that does make it more powerful.
I think that's probably mostly balanced with the healing, right?
That's true.
When you think of damage in total, right? If you deal 5 damage and you healed 3, you've dealt with 8 points of damage through the match, right? So I think that's probably, and then of course the rage will help bonus it. So I don't know. Excited to see. As I said, always excited to see what kind of things they're going to add in cards. Is it going to be the add a bunch of damage? Multipliers is going to be like we mentioned, the healing. He probably is going to be one that has mostly just straight up, you're going to have a lot of ability upgrades and go that route. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, and as of right now, he is the simplest character that they've released. He is a number 2 on that kind of scale, so a good one just to get people interested in. Obviously, it's the one that people are going to gravitate to, so I think that was a smart choice.
Yeah, and then the other they released last Friday was Psylock, right? And Psylock has a 6th dice.
Yes.
That is the big kind of, I guess, gimmick on Psylock. It is a manifest dice. So how it works, you have a passive ability, and at the start of all of your offensive roll phases, you're going to be rolling that manifest dice. It's a different color than a normal dice.
It's a pink one, I believe, maybe a purple one.
And so you're going to like set it over there. If you roll a 5 or whatever, you're going to set it over there. And you actually, from my understanding, cannot manipulate it unless a card specifically manipulates a manifest dice, which means because they've clarified that, I'm sure there are cards that
are going to
ways that specifically manipulate the manifest dice. But at any point in time, you can swap that dice into your pool and then use that outcome. And from that point, you can manipulate it, which I think is also going to. There's just going to be a lot of choice. She is going to be one that I think will be very fun to play because you'll just have this like choice of, oh, okay, I do have this 5 sitting over here, and I have a tippet, so I know I'm going to sub it in, make it a 6, even though I didn't roll a 6, right? I don't know. It seems really cool.
And then on top of that, something you didn't even mention was if you don't want to actually sub it in for one of your dice, you can half it, and that adds that much amount of damage on there, right? So even, whatever you're going to get, you're at least going to add 1 more damage to all of your actions on there. So that's really strong. I like that.
You're absolutely right. Most of her abilities also kind of like Wolverine sat on the side of
7 or less.
Yeah, less damage, but I think that is because you're always adding a minimum of 1 point of damage if you go that route.
One of her other status effects is actually the paralyzed status effect, and that one prevents you from gaining status tokens. So imagine playing her and like a tactician or like a shadow thief, right? Like who thrive on that status effect. They're not going to be able to collect on them.
And I think to clarify, it was not only to gain, but also to give. Right?
Yes.
It's the gaining and the inflicting. So yeah, those, like you said, the Scarlet Witches, anybody that does that kind of stuff. And on top of that, I can't remember what it was called, but the token she has that if you give it to a person, they can't roll.
Their defensive dice.
Yes, that was it. So I don't know. It seems like
there's a lot going on.
There's a lot of manipulation of the other player.
All of her status effects, they seem super strong, and I think what they did to kind of nerf that also was they gave her the 2-2-1-1. Paladin has the 2-2-1-1, and I know he doesn't have a lot to fall back on. So I think that for her, that's just a way to kind of limit her a little bit, which I think is going to be interesting.
Yeah, the characters like that, they're like the Doctor Strange, right? When you have the dice face that are like that, you almost on roll attempt 1 are deciding kind of what you're going for based off that, because there's typically not a lot of cross coverage.
Yeah. So then this past week, they announced 2 more, and the biggest one, I think, from that, or the biggest surprise, was Iceman. You called it.
I told you. I put him in that filler round. They like to, when they do these boxes, you can't just have all the heavy hitters out there.
Yep.
Iceman definitely falls into the filler. And talking about Iceman, I actually think might be one of the ones I'm more excited for. He just has some really cool abilities. So first off, as of setup, a freezer card, his ice shards, which is one of his abilities, and then it's glide. Is that what it's called? They can be stored in the freezer, and they can't be touched there. They can't be removed there.
And they don't count towards your stack
limits. I'm a little bit, I didn't go full in-depth in it. I think you can spend them from there still.
So from in there, if you have 5 of the ice shards, you can transfer them into the glide from there. So you can spend that ability in there.
But can you use the glide from in there?
I'm not 100% sure
because he does have one ability I think it was the large straight, where it lets him move the status effects from the freezer to his player board. So I was a bit curious, can he actually spin them from the freezer? Something we'll have to find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, so his abilities, we mentioned the Ice Shard and the Glide. How that works is, Ice Shard seems like it's going to be almost all the abilities accumulate some 1 or 2 Ice Shards, and then when you get 5, you get to turn those into a Glide, and the Glide, I'm just going to call it right now, a better combo.
Better combo and a better stun.
That's very true, although I think the slight difference, the glides are into a set thing.
Yes.
Whereas, like
the
a stun,
and
you can roll whatever, right? Even combo, you can roll whatever. And I haven't studied the board in depth, but I'm assuming it's going to be like
one of the weaker actions.
Not necessarily weaker, but probably one of the more supportive actions, right? Okay. Those actions that gain tokens, those actions that do a little bit of healing, those actions that do those kind of things. Combo was like the thing that if you hit right for Miles Morales, it was a lot
that was
fun.
His winner, right? That's what you had to do to win with Miles Morales.
Yeah, and so this way, and I did look at the board. There was, I think, 3 different things. So you can save that token for kind of the one you're wanting, right? He had the one...
I forget what it was called, but it's the die that you freeze the lowest number.
Yes, I think that is so cool. You know what? It actually made me think. So yeah, it stacks up to 2.
Yep,
so,
and you can freeze the 2 lowest numbers.
So yeah, you inflict it, negative status effect to the other player, and then their lowest dice is frozen. It just made me instantly think, could you imagine a matchup of Loki and Iceman as a team, where you have Loki blocking out abilities and you have Iceman locking out dice, right? You could literally just make opponents not be able to do anything that they want to do through the game. And really, like most of the time, you're going to be locking out the low dice, right? So depending on the character, they're going to be doing their basic, strikes, right?
Yep.
So then Loki, blocking out that and you're forcing whiffs. I don't know. I just
that's
in my head,
a great one.
That was what I thought. In the 2 players in there, I'm like, oh man,
that team.
If you're on that side, how much fun would that be? If you're on the other side, how frustrating would that be?
What was super awesome, when I'm looking at the board, going back to this is definitely nostalgia X-Men, right? Some of the names of the actions. Ice to meet you, right? From Batman Forever, when you have Mr. Freeze.
All right, everyone, chill.
I only have ice for you, kind of thing. I was reading that and I was just brought back. That was so awesome, and that just makes me. It just puts me in that mood to play him even more. I'm super excited for Iceman.
So then the other that was introduced this week, Storm, one of the ones I said I was excited for. Looking at her abilities, I am honestly very excited. Biggest gimmick, or I guess biggest ability, I should say, that she has is it's just called Lightning, right?
Lightning.
Yep. And it is a companion. So how it works is all of her abilities, except for her defensive, have a hollowed out lightning icon, and anytime you roll that, the charge or the lightning, you get to charge those abilities. They all just provide additional effects, and it didn't look like any of them were extra damage. It all actually looked like it was
and cards.
Some sort of effects.
And then if you stack 2 of them, you remove them, you immediately deal 2 isolated damage or something like that. So, it's like getting that little lightning attack to you.
It's just kind of little chip of lightning.
The other one, when they first did the reveal, you could see a little glimpse of the largest straight. And immediately you're like, what? What is the largest straight? So she has a status effect that is the Tornado. You can have a stack limit of 4. You can spend one of those to gain one of your opponent's dice. Now, that doesn't, obviously, you can't use their symbols, their images and stuff like that, but that's what you're going to be going for, that largest straight, a 1 through a 6, which, is just going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they're introducing that. I'm overall curious to see how it plays out, because it sounds like it's really cool. it really leans into she'll be going for straights, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you'll be gaining those tornadoes, you'll be spending them, rolling extra dice that you can only use for the numbers. So whether you're going for the largest straight, small straight, large straight, whatever, you're going to be going for straights at that point. The largest straight, honestly, it seems sweet. I can't remember the exact damage it was, but it did put 4 of the
charges out there.
The charges out there, right? As well as it was an ability that could be charged.
Now, with that being said, if you're doing a mirror match, that's just going to be ultimates after ultimates after ultimates, because there you can use the symbol, right? So that's going to be very interesting to see.
You are absolutely right. Didn't think about that. But yeah, it's cool. And then her last ability, it was...
I forget what it's called.
I know what it was called. It was called Wind Shear.
There you go.
Mostly because I play a shaman in WoW, and that is my interrupt. That is the most crucial ability I have in the game. But yeah, it was Wind Shear. It was a very simple ability, but I also think very effective ability. Anytime you're taking damage, you spend it, you prevent 2, and then redistribute that 2 to the enemy. So it's a 4-point swing, which is honestly... I think pretty solid when you talk about damage, and most effects are doing 2 or 3.
And then just kind of going back into, the overall theme of it, all of her actions are some type of weather activity. She's got the blizzard out there. She's got Maelstrom, all this other kind of stuff that's just, they always knock it out of the park, right? When the Marvel release came out, it was like, whoa, I can't believe they made this so well for these characters, and they're just doing it again.
Yeah, so real quick, Paul, which of these 4 are you most excited to play first?
So we'll go first. Iceman. I'm very excited to play Iceman. I think that glide ability, I'm super interested in that. And then the second one is Psylock. That dice, that just really interests me a lot. Both of those are 2 new mechanics that haven't been integrated before, so I kind of want to give that a try. Those are the 2 that I'm really going for.
Yeah, I think for me it's definitely Psylock. Kind of the exact same reasons. Having that manifest die, I like manipulation. I like figuring that kind of stuff out, and just having an extra factor. Right? It's an extra X in there that you get to play with, and so I'm excited to do that. Her abilities, the paralyze. We didn't even mention the agility coming back. But yeah, I'm excited to try her out. Honestly, I'm excited. I would say for all of them, maybe Wolverine, the least of which, but who knows? I'll enjoy playing them all. That is all we have for now, but hopefully we'll be here seeing the next set of characters in just a couple days, and that's all we have for this time. Hopefully we'll get to do this again when we kind of see the next couple sets of heroes and get excited for Gambit.
That's
Nightcrawler.
Yep, that's right.
I'm still hanging on to hope. I got my storm. We're still hanging on to hope.
Gambit. But obviously, for you guys watching this, drop a comment below. Tell us which of those 4 characters you're most interested in. Did you get all 4 of these characters? Which ones are you waiting for? Just let us know. We like to have that discussion. That's all we got. Until next time.